press outside of the magistrate's court. He has managed to secure bail till December. His extradition to India in 2017 now seems highly unlikely. To discuss this further, we're joined by senior lawyer Satish Manshinde and Ramesh Vaidyanath, founder and managing partner at IDBI Legal. Gentlemen, appreciate you joining us. Mr. Manshinde, let me start by asking you, so it seems pretty clear now that Vijay Mallya's possible extradition is unlikely in 2017.
Well, the process in London is fixed much well in advance, and the fact that the case is going on in the English courts is a welcome sign, because Mallya will have a fair chance of proving his case that he has not absconded from India, and he has enough material to suggest that the money which he has been loaned by the banks has been used by him towards fair means and for the business for which he was loaned the amount. And I have always been saying right from the beginning, though I am not holding any brief for Vijay Mallya, that at one time he was willing to offer a settlement of 6,800 crores against a principal amount of 6,985 crores. And the banks did not settle with him. Recently, Mr. Sharad Pawar has gone on TV to say that when Mallya came to him, he had taken him to some bank chairman and he discussed the matter as to why Mallya's case is not being settled like other 100 people who are listed by Mallya. And the bank chairman had to say that we can't settle Mr. Mallya's case because he is too high profile. That's not a ground to not settle a banking deal. In fact, there is a Supreme Court judgment of Mr. Nikhil Merchant, who had settled the bank loan from less than 50% of the amount, and the Supreme Court, on the basis of that settlement, quashed the proceedings pending in the CBI court and quashed the charge sheet. So I don't see why the government of India is wasting so much money on Mr. Mallya, and particularly if you have seen the proceedings today, Mr. Mallya presented himself in the court. His bail has been extended till December, and the trial has been set with program to plead his case.
So, Ramesh, let me ask you then, as Satish Manshinde was pointing out, I mean, why is the Indian government wasting its money when Mallya had offered to settle? Why not just get on with the job at hand? But given the fact that now this extradition proceeding is currently underway, it seems like it's going to be a long wait before Mallya returns to India, if at all.
Well, I had always anticipated, Shirin, on an earlier program as well, I had mentioned that this could be anywhere between 18 to 24 months. And I think I was probably being optimistic when I said that. But I think on today's developments, I want to say a couple of things. One is, I think Mallya's statement is in my view, both provocative and reckless. The reason why it's provocative is because, see, we're not dealing only with, crores of rupees. We're dealing with lives of families that have been destroyed. So we would expect some more sensitivity, so therefore the provocative part. And the reason I say it was reckless is because here is somebody who's saying that you're dreaming about millions. So on the one hand, you're telling the Supreme Court, which is going to hear hear you on your punishment on July 10th. You're telling the court that I'm ready to settle, and on the other hand, you're talking about dream about the money. So therefore, you're not really helping your case by really speaking to the media in these kind of terms. So he has to pitch his case of personal liberty, corporate loan vis-a-vis personal liability. Rather than doing that, when he questions the very liability itself to pay, I think he's actually doing a disservice to himself. So I'm quite surprised that his lawyers allowed him to talk to the media.
Maybe he didn't have a choice. If you saw those visuals there, he was virtually ambushed by the media, so maybe he chose to take the bait, but that's his problem. Satish Manshinde, what will the Indian government's response now be? Because this is a matter that's going to, proceed in the court. July is the next date of hearing, but the trial in December, Mallya's lawyers also suggesting that the second submission of information hasn't come in from the Indian investigating agency. So how do you see this proceeding from here on?
See, the procedure in extradition court would be that once Mallya is brought before the court and all the documents are furnished to him, the CBI will have to produce the entire charge sheet which it has filed in the Mumbai court asking for extradition. Secondly, they'll have to prove that all those statements recorded in the prosecution case are as per the extradition treaty. Thirdly, all those offences for which Mr. Mallya is being tried in India are punishable on the English soil as if they were committed in England. So until and unless the Indian government is ready and willing and having enough material to prove that those offences are provable even in the English law, there has to be a mutual punishment both in India and England courts. Only then will there be an extradition granted to bring Mallya to India. But as far as I know, in the last 25 years, since 1992, only one person, Mr. Patel, has been extradited from England to India, that too in the Godhra massacre case. So you can see the record of the extradition treaty, which tells you that chances are 1%.
Right. Ramesh, final say to you now. You know, I wonder what's going through the minds of the Indian investigating agencies and the Indian government on how to play this out now.
I think I'd probably be, you know, a bit more careful about saying being entirely dismissive of the government case. I think they put out a very good case in terms of, that's what it appears from media reports, that they've made out a criminal charge. So, you know, we've been speaking a lot about Mallya, you know, defaulting on the loan. I think we're forgetting the money laundering aspect, the fraud aspect. And I think that's where the courts will really test it and see if there is a double criminality is involved here. Because if assuming there is any money laundering involved or a fraud involved, that's punishable both under Indian law as well as UK law. So that's an extraditable offense. So I'll probably wait and see how things progress.
Oh, absolutely. We have to wait and see how things progress from here on. The matter, of course, in the courts in London. Mallya may choose to be dismissive, but the Indian government believes it does have a strong case. Next date of hearing fixed for July. Gentlemen, appreciate you joining us here on CNBC TV 18 with your thoughts this evening.